The courtroom doors burst open under the harsh glow of late morning sunlight, and in that instant, everything that was supposed to be certain began to unravel. A billionaire woman sat alone at the defense table, her future hanging by a thread, while the man everyone overlooked rose from the back row with a resolve that would change both their lives forever. Power, wealth, and reputation meant nothing in that moment, because the only person willing to stand for her was a janitor, single dad with tired eyes and an unbreakable heart. Before the story unfolds any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and ordinary people doing extraordinary things, take a moment to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel One Heart Stories. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Ethan Cole had started his day the same way he always did, under the bright blue sky of a weekday morning, mopping marble floors in a downtown legal complex while thinking about his daughter's school lunch. He was a single father who had learned to measure life in small victories, like clean shoes and on-time bills. His job paid little, but it kept food on the table, and that was enough. As he worked the corridors, he noticed the tension in the building was heavier than usual. Reporters crowded the entrance, camera flashes spilling through the glass walls as whispers followed one name, Lila Moreno, the tech billionaire accused of corporate fraud in a case that had captivated the nation. Lila's fall had been swift and brutal. By midday, sunlight streamed through the tall courtroom windows, illuminating her isolation as clearly as the headlines had exposed her. Her legal team had been dismantled by pressure, threats, and fear of political backlash, leaving her abandoned when she needed them most. The courtroom felt colder despite the sun, as if justice itself had stepped away. Ethan, pushing his cart quietly along the back wall, noticed her hunched posture and the way her hands trembled when she reached for a glass of water. He did not know her personally, but he recognized the look of someone cornered by a system too powerful to fight alone. Ethan's connection to the case ran deeper than anyone could guess. Years earlier, his late wife had worked as an accountant for a small startup crushed by the same conglomerates now accusing Lila. He had spent nights reading financial documents after putting his daughter to sleep, not for revenge, but to understand how lives could be destroyed by hidden contracts and legal loopholes. Knowledge had become his quiet companion, learned not in classrooms but in survival. Watching the proceedings unfold in the harsh clarity of daylight, he realized the accusations against Lila echoed the same tactics he had studied for years. The turning point came when the court recessed briefly, the sun now high and unforgiving. Lila's empty chair spoke louder than any testimony. Ethan felt a weight press against his chest, the same weight he had felt the day he promised his daughter he would always stand up for what was right. Against every instinct to stay invisible, he stepped forward. His hands shook, not from fear, but from the enormity of what he was about to risk. In that bright room, surrounded by polished wood and watchful eyes, the janitor's single dad became something else entirely, a man choosing courage over comfort. As the session resumed, the atmosphere shifted. Ethan's unexpected intervention stunned the room. He presented facts with clarity, unraveling timelines, and exposing inconsistencies that seasoned attorneys had overlooked or ignored. The daylight poured through the windows as if bearing witness, highlighting the contrast between polished power and raw integrity. Lila listened in disbelief as the narrative around her began to crack. For the first time in weeks, hope flickered across her face, not because of her wealth, but because someone believed she deserved truth. The days that followed were exhausting. Ethan returned home each evening to help with homework under the soft afternoon sun fading into dusk, then stayed up late reviewing documents. His daughter sensed the change, seeing her father both weary and alive with purpose. In court, the momentum shifted. Evidence surfaced that reframed the accusations, pointing toward scapegoating rather than guilt. Public opinion, once merciless, began to soften as headlines changed tone. The billionaire and the janitor stood on opposite ends of society, yet were bound by a shared fight against injustice. When the verdict was finally read on a clear, bright morning, the courtroom was silent. Lila was cleared of all charges, her name restored as sunlight bathed the room in warmth rather than glare. Tears streamed freely, not of relief alone, but of gratitude for an act of bravery she would never forget. Ethan slipped back into the background, returning to his cart, content that he had done what mattered. He expected nothing in return. What followed surprised him. Lila used her influence not to elevate herself, but to uplift others like Ethan. Scholarships were created, legal aid expanded, and Ethan was offered opportunities that respected his integrity rather than exploiting it. Yet the greatest reward came at home, in the way his daughter looked at him with pride as they walked together under the afternoon sun, knowing her father had chosen compassion over fear. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that humanity still matters even in the brightest, harshest light of day, please like, comment, and share this video so more hearts can be touched. Special request, please comment below where you are watching from and what part of the story stayed with you the most. In a world obsessed with power and wealth, it was a janitor single dad who proved that true defense comes not from status, but from courage, kindness, and the willingness to stand when everyone else walks away.